Hello everybody, it's Mr. Chris here. It's time to play some guitar. Today we're going to be learning Cornelia Street by Taylor Swift. This is the live in Paris version where she's just playing her guitar and singing all by herself on stage in front of a lovely French audience. I've never gotten to play in France, but how cool would that be? Maybe someday. So the one thing you need to know is this version is in a different key than the original studio album version. So if you want to play along with the original studio album version, stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you how to take what we're doing here and make it playable for that version. All right, you ready to get started? First thing you need to know is your guitar needs to be tuned in standard tuning. That's E, A, D, G, B, E. So get your guitar in tune and then slap a capo onto the 4th fret right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where your capo goes. There are only 4 chords in this song. The first chord is G. Good old G major chord. So here's what we're going to do. Pinky on the 3rd fret up from the capo on the high E string, followed by our ring finger, 3rd fret on the B string. I'm going to put my middle finger way up here on top in the 3rd fret of the low E string, and then I'm putting my pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the A string to create that G major chord. There you go. And a little secret, not really a secret, just something to keep in mind. These 2 fingers down here, the ring finger and the pinky finger, they're going to stay in that position for all of the chords that we're going to play throughout this song. So just lock them down there and leave them and let the other 2 fingers do all of the work. Okay? So there's our G chord. Now that we have our first chord, we can talk a little bit about the strumming rhythm. The first thing that you could do to strum along with the song is just simply strum down, up, non-stop. Something like this. Okay, so you could do that and play along with the song and it'll sound really nice. If you want your strumming to sound more like the video where Taylor's doing it, then we're going to do something like this. So it's down, down, up, down, up, down. I'll repeat that. Down, down, up, down, up, down. You do that for every chord, okay? So let's practice that a couple more times. Here we go. Down, down, up, down, up, down. Down, down, up, down, up, down. So if you need to pause the video right here and go work on that, get comfortable with that strumming, this is a good time to do that, and then come back. We'll be here all day, okay? So, all right, here we are. We're going to move on to the next chord. We had G. Now our next chord has a really weird name. It's D sus4 / F sharp. I'll say that again. D sus4 / F sharp. Now, I know that sounds pretty nuts, but the name is way crazier than the actual chord. The name is more difficult to say than the chord is to play. There are actually 2 ways to play this chord, and I'm going to show you the first one, which is the way I like to play it. So you're going to learn my way first. What we're really doing is we're taking the D chord. There's 2 things happening. You have a D chord, and we're making it a sus4 by keeping that pinky on the 3rd fret of the E string. Okay? But then we have to add that / F sharp note to it. Where's the F sharp? It's way up here on the E string up top. Okay, so we have to move some fingers around. So I've got pinky and ring finger. Remember, they're staying there the whole time in the 3rd fret. I'm putting my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then I'm putting my pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the low E string down here. There's that F sharp, and there's what this chord sounds like. Okay? So if I go from the G to that chord, it's going to sound like this. We stop right there. Okay, now, if you want to do it the way Taylor does it, if you want to be like Taylor Swift, and let's face it, don't we all want to be more like Taylor Swift? I know I do. Okay, so here's how Taylor does it. So she sets up like a regular D chord here, regular D chord, and then she adds her pinky, right? Just like we've already said we're doing. And then here's where it gets really interesting. She takes her thumb and she wraps it around the top of the guitar to play the F sharp in the 2nd fret of the E string with her thumb. But wait, Mr. Chris, that sounds crazy. You can't play guitar with your thumb? Sure you can. There's no reason why you can't. Lots of people do it all the time. It's not my favorite way to play the chord, but who cares what I think? This is what Taylor does. I watched the video, I promise. This is what she's doing. So she's playing a D chord, you got your pinky down to make it a sus4, and then she's wrapping the thumb around the top, getting it into the 2nd fret. And this is what it sounds like. Now here's the way I play it, and here's the way Taylor plays it. They sound exactly the same. That's the cool part about it. You'll find that happens a lot with guitar. Sometimes there's more than one way to do something, and how do you decide which way you want to do it? Try them and see what works for you, okay? So there's Taylor Swift's D sus4/F sharp. Again, much more difficult to say than actually play. So if I do it her way, we'll start on a G. And then we're going to go to the next chord. The next chord, E minor 7. So I normally play my E minor with these 2 fingers, but I can't do that. Why, Mr. Chris? Because my ring finger and my pinky are down here, and so I'm going to use my other 2 fingers to play the E minor, 2nd fret of the A string, 2nd fret of the D string. These other fingers are anchored down here. Here's the E minor 7. Okay, so let's put those 3 chords together. We have G, the D chord, and the E minor 7. Okay, so there's 3 chords, and last but not least, the final 4th chord is called a C add 9. Now, if you're a fan of the G chord, you're gonna love the C add 9. Just imagine taking a regular G chord and then take these 2 top fingers and scooch them down 1 string each. So I have my middle finger is on the A string in the 3rd fret, and my pointer finger is on the 2nd fret of the D string. Now, when I play this chord, I don't want to touch the top E string with my strumming, okay? I don't want to strum that note. That open E won't sound that great in this chord. So here we go. If you happen to look closely at what's going on here, remember on that other chord I said I don't use my thumb? Well, here's the thing. I use my thumb more as a mute. I use it to keep control of my top E string here. I'm not playing a note, I'm not pushing down on it. I'm just letting my finger gently rest and touch the string just enough that it doesn't make a note. So that allows me to play any chord that has an open E string. When I don't want the E string to be ringing out, my thumb just hits that. So that's a little tip that you can use in lots of songs, okay? It's just acting as a mute hanging out there. So let's review. We have a G chord. We have D sus4/F sharp. And then we have E minor 7. And then we have C add 9. And that's pretty much the whole song. I'll play it a few times in slow motion for you with the strumming. Remember, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Here we go. Okay, now, if you remember way back at the beginning of the video, I told you that the original version, the studio album version that Taylor Swift did with this song, is in a different key. All you need to do is take your capo and scoot it to the 5th fret. And now you're in the correct key for the album or studio version. Sounds like this. So if you want to play the live in Paris version, which I think is an excellent choice if you're wanting to play along with Taylor and just experience the pure raw version, it's probably maybe very similar to the version that she brought into the studio when she first wrote the song. You show up at the studio, you've got producers and maybe other musicians there, and you go, "Hey guys, I've got a great new song. I'm gonna call it Cornelia Street, and here's how it goes." And then she sits down on the guitar and plays that song. And then they go and do their magic and put drum loops and keyboards and all kinds of other instruments and make it into something that sounds way different, really. But as a songwriter, a lot of times you're just sitting around with your guitar or maybe a piano and singing and doing that kind of stuff. So there you go, Cornelia Street, live in Paris by Taylor Swift. Thank you guys for checking this video out. Come back around for other stuff in the future. Leave a comment, let me know what songs you'd like to hear, and we'll see you next time.